Alafia. This is Leger, the Lux Oracle. And I'm coming to talk to you about something that is I'll say it's somewhat unconventional. It's not really something that people talk about a lot, but it's something that is important to me and that matters to me and that really encompasses where I am right now in life. So I'm going to talk about dearmoring. And in my most previous live, I talked about having an armor and about how this is very common amongst African American women, and how it's kind of taught to us. We're kind of taught to stay armored and to for our protection. So it's like the elders and the family members and the aunts and uncles and whatnot who tell us to armor up and to not share our feelings and be to yield to our own desires. They were telling us that excuse me, allergies. Got sinus drainage going on, but they they told us to do this because the prospect was you to get hurt. Right? We don't want you to get hurt. We don't want you to be in a situation where you were too open or too loving and you got hurt. And so this is fair, right? And this is understandable. And this makes sense why, your mama, your auntie, your grandmother may have told you to, um, may have discouraged you from falling in love, may have discouraged you from doing certain activities that were pleasurable for you because they felt like they were frivolous and they wouldn't really be useful in your life because they were coming from a survival um aspect, right? Which is okay and which is fair for them in their for their time. It served them for their time on this earth. It served for their incarnation. But it doesn't serve you. So if you're somebody like me who is very sensitive and is very loving and is very giving and is very emotionally tapped in, and you don't really have it doesn't really serve you to hide your feelings, right? It doesn't really feel good to you to do that. It doesn't really feel good to most people. But when you're particularly, I don't want to say empathetic. I really don't like that word. But if you have a high level of compassion and love, and your vessel is able to hold a lot of love, people will tell you that you're just not really, you're not thinking clearly, right? You're being dumb, you're being immature, you're being naive, right? That there's no such thing as love. You should just focus on getting your paper, right? That's like a big thing that's taught to black women. It's like, don't focus on relationships, just focus on your money, because all there's no opportunity for you to have a good relationship because all the men are horrible, and so just don't do that, right? There's no reason you should be taking an art class, girl. You ain't gonna make no money from that. What are you taking a pottery class for? That whole energy. And what I have seen, or what I have realized with myself, is that because of pain, like past disappointments, and following that type of doctrine, I started to armor myself. So meaning that, kind of like what I talked about in the last video, the last live, is I very much was like, well, I'm not going to be the person to show my feelings first. That was like the biggest thing for me. Like, I'm not going to be the first one. I'm not going to, you know, do that. Is it really a good idea for me to go and do that? Is it really intelligent for me to go do that? Because, instead of me taking a ballet class, I could be at work. Or I could be like, you know what I'm saying? Even though you like ballet, even though you like pottery, even though you like that person, you tell yourself, well, I ain't gonna do that because that's frivolous. Or, you know, child, I haven't, I don't know. What's a good example? Well, girl, he only took me out on one date, so I'm not gonna reach out first. Like, all this stuff we do, right? And so I had this very eye-opening experience with Oshun, and so I will share that with you. So I went to the Chattahoochee River, and I was sitting out there with my salad, just being beautiful and enjoying being on the Chattahoochee River by myself, just really spending time with nature, spending time with Oshun. So I was there at the river, and I was just, to go home, and I was like, something interpersonal that I wanted. And I was just like, this just is not working out for me, and I don't understand why it's not happening the way I want it to happen. And, you know, this is just not fair because other people have this, and I've had this before. I should be able to get it again. And I just had like, basically a pity party because I was crying. I didn't have an attitude. I was emotional, which is common when you work with water energy because it will clear out your emotional bodies, right? So I was upset, y'all. And so I was just like, I don't understand how I'm going to fix this, but I'm gonna have to recalibrate something so that I can acquire what it is that I want. Because y'all know I do law of attraction, law of assumption, and I believe that I'm supposed to have whatever the hell it is that I want. Like, that's what I believe as far as universal law is concerned. So I was very unhappy that day. And so yesterday, I had a really good conversation with another projector in human design. I'm a projector. Had another good conversation with another projector. And I asked her, and projectors give the best advice. I don't really have a lot of projector friends. So it was very refreshing to talk to another projector because we can like see. That is like our gift. We can see the overall problem that needs to be assessed and fix it. We just have that gift. That's what projectors are here for, according to human design. So I was talking to my friend, and I was like, girl, I don't understand why this is happening. And but I can't do this. So I gotta go do this with this person, because if I do this with this person, I don't know how it's gonna pan out. So I'm gonna do this. And she was like, what you're saying is not making sense. She was like, why don't you just tell the person what you want? And I was like, wait. You mean to be a mature adult and vocalize my needs and actually appear vulnerable to said person? I was like, this is really, I was quiet for a minute actually. Because I was like digesting it. And I was like, wow, I'm trying to doctor up this situation by trying to basically bypass having this conversation and voicing my needs to this other person. And basically, I had pretty much made a decision that, well, since this person won't give it to me, I'm going to go get it from someone else, right? I'm going to go find someone else that can just read my mind and do what the fuck I want them to do, right? I know y'all have experienced this before. And my friend was like, well, why don't you just tell the person that you want to have the conversation with that you, why don't you just have a conversation with this person about what you want? Instead of saying, well, they just don't know what I want. They're just not doing it. I'm going to go find someone else. And that's the thing. I hadn't had a conversation with the person. I had just assumed. I basically assumed defeat. And I've seen this with other women. I've seen women do stuff like they'll go into a venue or space and they'll see some gentleman there and they'll do something along the lines of, Oh, girl, he would never talk to me. I'm probably not even his type. Or I have a family member. She's deceased now, and I remember because of her figure, this man. So this man tried to talk to her, right? He was trying to holler, and because of her figure, she was a full figured woman. Because of her figure, she just automatically assumed that he didn't that a man actually he hit on her. He actually did hit on her. And she convinced herself, girl, he probably just a chubby chaser, which he might have been. But she was just like, girl, he don't really want nothing serious with me. I just, And that was her self perception. So this person who had probably not been on a date in 20, 30 years gets hit on and decides, I'm not even going to entertain that because there's just no possible way that he even really likes me for real. Yeah, that's literally what projectors are here to do. Literally. That's like it. Fix problems because we can see everything. We're going to always give good advice because that's just what we do. So she pretty much just made this decision that, of course, he doesn't want to talk to me for any type of like normal reasons that men talk to women. It can't be that he's just genuinely attracted to me. Me and this banger fighting. It can't be that he's just genuinely attracted to me. She made that decision. She made that decision. She didn't get his phone number, or he didn't say anything crazy to her to make her be off put. She just made that decision that he didn't like her. Or that he was just playing games. That he wasn't really interested in trying to get her to know her more. She just made that up. She had no idea what that man's intention was. She just made that up. But it comes from having numerous experiences of niggas playing in her face, right? And so she just assumes that this man wants to play in her face too, but she don't know him from a can of paint. Like, we do that all the time as black women. Just put this armor up. Girl, no, I'm not even finna do that. I ain't finna text him first. I ain't finna do this. I'm not finna tell him that I'm mad that he did X, Y, and Z. I'm just gonna go get me a new nigga. I'm just gonna go do this, or I'm just gonna go sulk. Or I'm just gonna, the next time he do something, I'm gonna cuss him out. Like, bruh. That is so toxic. And that is such a heart chakra issue that you as a grown woman, and I'm telling you this because I had to say this to myself, that you as a grown ass woman can't tell Bob, Harry, Cleotis, whatever his name is, or your mama, or your sister, or the people at your job, you just can't tell them that you're unhappy and that you need some motherfucking accommodations or you need some help. Oh God, don't get me started on that. Okay, I am guilty as charged with that. As far as not asking for help. Very very big thing for me, but again, I was not conditioned to ask for. I was actually told that asking, I don't know what I'm going to do with this bang, y'all. I'm trying to get it together so I can go somewhere. That asking for help was a weakness. That it's a weakness. It's not, you shouldn't ask for help. Because when you ask folks for help, they're going to do you all kind of trifling types of ways because you needed their help. Right? And I have had experiences where people did do me trifling because I asked them for the help. Literally. Like recently. Right? And I'm having to heal from those things. Right? And I'm having to work through all of that. And so that's what I wanted to come on here and talk about and say is like, where are you? Yeah, defense mechanisms. Where are you armored up to where people can't even help you? People can't even ask you on a good date. People can't even, they don't even know what you want because you don't know what you want. Or you know what you want, but you're too scared to ask for it. That's the situation that I was in. I knew what I wanted, but I was too afraid to ask for it for fear of rejection. For fear of, it's like fear of rejection. But also what I really found when I really dug deep, I don't know how I want my hair, y'all. I'm trying to go out, but really it got me, Nicole. Like, it snatched me to the root. Like, because I had a conversation with my friend, and then I went to AI to kind of like assess it deeper, and AI dragged me for fucking filth. Okay, for filth. Because it was just like, you know what you want. It's just that you don't want to ask for it because you don't want to seem vulnerable. Yeah, you don't want to seem vulnerable, but then it's like, but how can you say that your baseline and your main desire and what you want the most is pleasure, but you can't even ask for what you want? I saw a lady post, she was like, some of y'all are talking about Cassie and Diddy or whatever, and you can't even talk shit because you're afraid to tell the nail tech that you don't even like the goddamn design she putting on your nails. Right? So a lot of us have been conditioned to not speak up for ourselves and not advocate for ourselves, and that our feelings don't matter. Ooh, that was the one that got me right there. I was like, wow, I must really feel like my fucking feelings don't matter. I must feel like my feelings don't matter because I know that I want this and I need to have a conversation with this person about this. But it's so, me advocating for myself is so uncomfortable that I would rather be like, well, the girl, I'm just gonna go meet some new people. I'm not even gonna have that conversation with that person. And it ain't even that serious. That's the thing. It's not even that serious. What I'm referring to as far as my personal life. Yes. You got to just do it afraid. You got to just do it scared, because the reason you're afraid is your conditioning is telling you that this is a scary situation because it's been scary before, or you've had a negative situation before. And the only way to really break that pattern is to just do it. Yeah, I didn't want to be vulnerable either. I was just like, I cannot utter these words to this person. I can't. Like, I was saying I can't, but emotionally, I was like, this is going to feel so good to do. Like, I was literally fighting with myself about something that I wanted to do out of guilt. And one of the really deep things about this situation is it was, so I help women deprogram from the Good Girl program. I help women be more, learn seduction and advocate for themselves and step into their power. And I had to go through another initiation myself as the teacher. This is just me being transparent. Like, well, you not being all the way vulnerable. You not living in your pleasure. You not advocating for yourself. Isn't this what you stand on? Isn't this what you do? And I had to really I really had to get myself together. I was like, wow, I really need to have this hard conversation about these things that you desire, that this person is fully capable of giving you. The person has actually offered it to me before. That's the gag. The person has actually offered to me what I want. And that's the thing. When the person first asked me, I was like, well, I don't know. I couldn't even stand in my fucking power and just be like, yeah, that's what I want. I had to go home and like, oh my God, did I make the right decision? Should I? And should I have not? And should I have not? I should have just trusted my intuition. I should have just trusted my womb the first time. But I was too afraid to do it because of past traumas and past experiences. Yes. Yes. That's a really good thing. Follow the advice you would give to somebody else. Yeah, I had to talk to another projector girl. I had to talk to another projector that was like, why are you even tripping about this? Just have a conversation with the person. And I was like, you mean ask them? Tell them. That's the part that's hard, is the vulnerability. Like, tell them that I feel this way and this is what I want. And I just had to, it was scary, but I had to climb up out that shit. I'm still kind of climbing out of it. Because I just had to, I mean, it's just what it is. I had to just advocate for myself and just be like, no, bitch, like, stop the cap. Stop capping with yourself. The way AI ate me up about it was wild. Like, it was like, you are not standing in your power. You are not. It didn't tell me what I wasn't doing. It was telling me why I armored up. And it was like, it makes sense. You've had all of these different experiences where people didn't show up for you the way that you wanted them to show up. And sometimes when you did advocate for yourself or speak up, they shut you down or they didn't listen to you. But you cannot treat people like people from your past. You can't treat people a certain way because you have parental trauma. That's not fair. It's actually very toxic to do that. And I had to sit and look at, this is the hard part. I had to sit and look at all, because I was like, this is a recurring, this is the thing. I'm breaking some cycles. I personally know that I'm breaking cycles right now. Like I'm currently breaking the cycle right now. And that's one of the things, is that when you have abandonment wounds, you want to armor up. You know what I'm saying? Your brain is going to do whatever it has to do to keep you safe. And so if it feels like it's unsafe for you to tell Billy that you got a crush on him, then it's gonna freak you out, versus someone else who doesn't feel unsafe. They'll just go up and tell Billy, you know what, I think that you're really hot and I think that we should go out on a date. Like they're not gonna sit in their room and think about this for 50 days and wonder if Billy likes them. And, well, I can't say anything to Billy because I'm a girl and he's a guy, or I can't say anything to Billy because I don't want to seem thirsty. So I don't really know. And now, you look up in 6 months and Billy got a wife. And you really just could have said something. You may have gotten rejected, you may have not. But you don't even know. Like, I just see so many black women do that. And like I said, I recently did it. And just talk yourself out of shit. Out of fear of just being fucking open and vulnerable and doing what it is that you fucking want to do. That's really the thing that really got me to really assess this, is I decided that this year was going to be my year of pleasure. And I was like, I'm just going to start doing what my instincts are telling me and doing what it is the fuck that I want to do. And and it was cool. It's still cool. I'm not saying I'm going to stop this journey, but it was very, I mean, it's stuff is coming up. And I'm seeing, like, again, after I left the river, I cried. Because I was like, why is this happening? This isn't fair. I did all of that. It's not everything. And after a conversation with my friend, she was just like, well, why don't you just don't you have somebody that y'all have a similar, interest in doing that thing? And I'm like, yeah, why don't you just ask them to do it with you? And I was like when I tell you, the answer was so simple. And I was like, well, I don't want to ask them because I don't want to seem, and she was like, nigga, what? What is wrong with you? She was like, what is going on? And I'm just like, well, I kind of, I was just making all these excuses. And that's when I realized, like, wow, I'm the reason why I haven't gone, boating on, gone on the river raft on the Chattahoochee River with this person, because I just never told the person that I wanted to go. I just wanted the person to magically know that I wanted to go. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Nicole. Yeah, you're trying to feel in control of the situation. Well, he ain't asked me to the movies, so I'm gonna just try to find somebody else to go to the movies with me because he didn't ask me. But you like him and he like you. Just tell the nigga you want to go to the movies. Just tell your boss you need a fucking raise. You've been there for 5 years and you haven't gotten one. Like, just do it. But it's easier said than done. That's what I'm here to tell you. Easier said than done. So I really had to assess my self-concept and my inner conversations around that situation. And I feel like 20 times better and a lot more confident in having the conversation, because honestly, I feel a little goofy because I'm just like, why did I make that bigger than what it is? Why did I make that a big deal? It's really not a big deal. All I had to do was all I had to do was tell the person what I wanted. Again, the person has already offered said thing to me. They've already offered it to me. But I'm like, well, I'm a woman and I shouldn't do this. And what about that? And what about this? And what about my hormones? And what about, like, I just went into this whole, oh my God. I went into this Virgo South Node overthinking bullshit that I do. And I had to really, and this is part of why it's so important to sit the fuck down and be quiet and meditate. And why it's good to have wise people around you. Because I realized I knew I could feel. You know what it was? This is the part that's real crazy. I could feel the lump in my throat, and I know that that's a throat chakra thing. I know that that's stuck energy. It's not because I wasn't gonna cry. I wasn't gonna scream. It was stuck energy in my throat because I wouldn't just fucking open my mouth and ask for what I wanted. A lot of times we don't ask for what we want because we don't think that it's available or possible to us. Again, my aunt could have very well just allowed that man to take her on a date, and she could have found out if he was crazy or not and got her a free meal. Or who knows, maybe she would have fallen in love and she could have had a partner. She had been single for over 20 years. Maybe she would have found, somebody that was loving in the way that she needed to be loved. But she was so um unable to accept the compliment and to accept the interest of a male because she hadn't had it in so long, and she also had some trauma from men for that stemming from her childhood that she had never resolved. And I really hated that for her, that she had so much trauma that she wasn't able to just receive. That's the thing. You know what? And I was looking up something with human design, right? And I was talking to AI about it, and I was like, well, part of the reason why I didn't want to ask the person is because I'm a projector and I'm supposed to be invited, and I don't want to push, I don't want to force, I don't want to do too much. And they were just like, but your desire to do the thing is the invitation. When I tell you, I almost fell off the chair I was sitting in. I almost fell straight off the chair. I said, my God. I am letting, I don't even fully understand human design all the way. I'm letting this system that I don't even fully understand, I'm using it as an excuse to not voice my fucking desires. Because I'm like, well, they have to ask me first. Nigga, you have a mouth. Goofy. Like, I was like, I'm really tripping. And so I'm gonna end it here. What I realized is, because I was talking myself out of having this conversation, the conversation, the point of the conversation is to lead to a particular experience, right? And so what I realized is I had been telling myself that I couldn't have this experience because I wasn't at a certain place emotionally in that relationship with that person. So I was telling myself that I couldn't do it. And so that was the inner conversation. That was the self-talk, and that was the block. And so you know what I did to free myself? I gave myself motherfucking permission. I did. I said, you know what? You can do that. You don't have to do it the way everybody told you to do it. You don't have to do it the way the lady that wrote that book told you to do it. You don't have to do it the way human design, and dare I say it, even astrology, you don't have to do it that way. Ain't nobody forcing you to do the shit that way. You are choosing to not do it that way. You're choosing to say, well, I can't have this experience because I don't want to show up like this. You're doing that shit to yourself. And I had to have that conversation with myself. That the inner conversation that I was having about, well, I can't do that because if I do that, it's kind of like, let me give you an example. There's two women. There's woman A and there's woman B. And let's see. I don't want to make this about a man, but it's a good example if I do. Let's say they are both interested in the same man or interested in the same job, right? And when they see the man, or when they apply to this company, maybe the man winks at them, or maybe they get an email from the job saying that they're going to review their resume. And like, woman A can be like, well, I'll just wait for them to let me know something about the job. And if he looks at me, I'm going to look back, but that's it. I'm not going to talk to him. That's woman A. Woman B, they get shit done. She called the company. She pull up to the company. She emailing the company, asking about whatever. She's adding people from the company on LinkedIn. Okay, she's taking... See, this is the type of shit that motherfuckers try to say it's masculine. It's really not masculine. It's more so sovereign, and you're taking your fucking power back. Woman B is also the person that is, he keep looking at her, he keep looking at her. Maybe she doesn't walk over and talk to him, or maybe she does, but she waves back, hey, how are you? Like, she shows interest, right? That's sitting around waiting shit to have you broke. That's sitting around waiting shit will have you single. That's sitting around waiting shit will have you watching other people live the life that you want to live. And you're like, ugh, some people just have all the fun. It's not fair. That's literally what I was saying to myself. It's not fair that I don't get to do this and da 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 da. Well, god damn it, they taking the bull by the fucking horns. You're sitting your ass soaking somewhere. That's why your shit is like that. Applying pressure, yeah, and like it's also like walking into your, like, being sovereign, walking in your power, right? You can go in the mall and you can say, I just can't go into the Apple store because I can't afford nothing in there. That's a perfect example. That's the example. Thank you, Spirit. That's a perfect example. Some of y'all will go into the mall and not go in certain stores because you're like, I can't afford nothing in there. I can't afford nothing in there. I can't eat it. And you keep saying that same shit, right? So you're manifesting this, right? Then there's somebody else. They might have literally got dropped off by their friends. They didn't even have a way to get up there to the goddamn mall. But they're gonna go in the Apple store and they're gonna look. And they're gonna go into the Michael Kors store and they're gonna look. They're gonna go in the Lacoste store. I don't know. Gucci, go Dolce. They're gonna go into these places and look. Maybe because they're manifesting, maybe because they want to touch the fabrics. Maybe they're gonna apply for a goddamn job so that they can come up in life. And then they can have access to the products. But you'll never know because you said that you can't afford nothing in the store, and so you decided to just not go in there. You decided I'm not even gonna try. Perfect example. You were denying yourself the pleasures of life because you are afraid of how good life can get. You're afraid to know what it feels like to get things that you want. You're afraid to know what it feels like to receive fully. You're afraid to know what it feels like to speak up for what you want and for the universe to hold you in that. Yeah. So that's all I have to say. So I hope that helps some of you with de-armoring. And if you the previous live is like a prelude to this. It's like a prelude to it. Ladies, it's okay to soften. It's okay to soften. We be giving ourselves, we literally make our lives hard. Literally. By allowing this society to control how you think. Because you're basically saying that society's in control and not you, and that's actually not true. You're actually in control. You have a lot of shit you can change. With your mouth, with your actions, and with your desires. And I mean, the gist of this conversation is your desires are valid and you should enjoy them. You should enjoy them. You should embrace them, and you should fall in love with them. And you should do, and when I say pleasure, I don't mean anything crazy. You should do what makes you feel the most alive. Of course, be sensible about this. I'm not telling you to go do anything illegal or crazy or that's harmful to yourself. But you should do what makes you feel the most alive just because you're in this human body, and you should have that experience. And that's what you're here to do. So, anyways, I'll send you guys next time. And I'll post my links. Okay? Bye, y'all.